me that.
I don't know who told you, your teacher, your mom. I don't know.
Indio, I have a question. Genuine question. If the Earth is flat, I'm just curious. Where's the water? Where does the water go? Is there an edge?
What do you mean? Why would it go anywhere?
I don't know.
There's no edge. Earth is space.
Is the water just contained on a flat plane? It doesn't fall off?
Okay. The Earth is not an object.
Well, if the Earth is flat, I mean, the Earth is considered an object, right? I mean, whether it's flat or sphere.
No.
DanO'Steel, do you have this mental image of a biscuit flying through space?
Well, I'm curious. Like, what would a flat Earth look like if it's not a flat?
When we say flat Earth, what mental construct do you?
You're just looping right back out of space, bro. From where? Outer space? Outer space don't exist. Why don't they exist? Second law of thermodynamics. You want to do this all over again? Space is a religious. The existence of space is a religious belief. The idea predates. When was the idea of outer space first postulated?
The idea of the flat Earth is a religious belief.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy talk.
Well, on the Bible, that's what it says. It says in the Bible that the Earth is flat.
No. That's irrelevant. Okay, just because the Bible says that the Earth is flat, don't make flat Earth a religious belief. Religious beliefs mean you can't test the fundamental claims, and they're taken on faith. Just like so there's satellites in space. You take that on faith. These are pictures of the Earth. You take that on faith. The Earth looks flat, but it's really curving. You take that on faith. All these things you take on faith.
Yeah, you observe a flat Earth.
Okay. And
that's why I said, how do you know?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I said about the other person, right? He's like, well, NASA. And I go, well, that would be NASA knowing. I'm asking you how you know. I don't care if you believe NASA knows. I don't care. I want to know how you know if you know the Earth's a globe, like you, personally.
Yeah, don't borrow off them.
We ask this question all the time. How do you know the Earth's a globe? Nothing. Because they don't know. First they'll claim they know, and then it boils down to, they think somebody else knows, and that they don't really know.
So from my
don't rely on anybody else.
From my you talked about
what can we know about the globe?
Oh my god, you talked about the second law of thermodynamics, and you used that as proof as why satellites could not exist.
Yeah, the argument is X is a necessary condition of Y.
Yeah, well, from my understanding,
you have gas pressure, you got to have a container. There's no situation known to man in which that's not true.
From my understanding of the second law, it applies to isolated systems.
No,
there's no such thing.
And
no such thing as an isolated system. How can it apply to something that don't exist?
Of course there's not. You know what? There's no getting through.
There's no such thing as an isolated system.
Bro doesn't think that cars work.
You have these little spaz outs. It's kind of funny.
It's the most American shit ever, bro.
Yeah, well, wait till the British crew should be in here.
Do I sound American?
Yeah, you filthy American from Australia.
Well, Australia shouldn't exist if it's a flat Earth, bro.
Don't worry, you'll be okay. Don't worry.
Why shouldn't Australia exist?
Because it cuts you out the map.
What?
Because
what are you talking about, bro?
It does, bro.
What are you talking about?
We need to start that show. Goldberg to say the darndest things. We need to start that up.
They're so funny.
Because it'll be cut off the map.
Yeah, 3 weeks worth of material in the first 8 minutes.
You guys, it's so funny because you guys think you're in this little echo chamber and everyone's making fun of you, bro.
Yeah, it's
so you're a flat earther.
That's why you're an idiot.
So hold on, dude. You're a flat earther?
No, when did I say that?
Okay, then how is this an echo chamber if you're not a flat earther?
You guys are in a little.
Yeah, that didn't work. Did it? Your little narrative bullshit that didn't work. That failed quickly.
What narrative bullshit? I said you guys are in a flat Earth.
I already warned you. Gimmicks here.
Everyone in the world.
Okay, if this is an echo chamber, that means you're a flat earther.
That's why Chewie has numpty clips.
Are you a flat earther?
No.
Then it's not an echo chamber.
I'm talking about your little community.
Which one? The one we're talking in right now with you in it?
Yeah, I'm talking to you guys, but
and we're considering your ideas, which makes it not an
yes.
Well, if we consider your ideas, it's not an echo chamber by definition. It's not an echo chamber. You're just coping.
I'm questioning your echo chamber.
Okay. If it was an echo chamber, we wouldn't allow it.
You said that's why you ban everyone that opposes your thoughts, isn't it?
That's not why people get banned here.
I was muted earlier. And that was before I said anything bad.
You weren't banned. You're still in here. What are you on about?
I was muted though, wasn't I?
That's different.
Oh no.
So a general question I want to ask is, why do you? Well, I guess when did you first think that the Earth was flat? What gave you that idea?
Probably when I was a kid, and then I went to school and they told me wrong, that it was different.
Get hit in the head?
No, because kids just naturally, come to that conclusion because it's what it looks like and feels like.
So you came to a conclusion because it looks like, oh, that's hilarious, bro.
Yeah, probably. And then I went to school and they told me, no, it's not that.
Let me get this straight for you, man.
It's actually a big spinning ball.
Sorry, Tito. If no one had ever told you that it was a ball, what would you think you live on?
You probably wouldn't think a thing, man. I don't care about this shit. I know. I go by science. And I go
because
by
you're
logic.
quite happy to come in here and preach your ball-tied fucking
You're
religion.
happy to come in here and think about this preach. Shut the fuck up, bro.
Shut the fuck up. The other chap could continue talking.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Someone. I'd forgotten all about that though. Right. I was just heading along, with everybody else. Yep, Earth's a spinning ball in outer space. Yep. And then someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, did you remember to have a look at what it actually, looks like? And I went, oh shit, yeah, it does look flat. And then, we go out and we make these long distance observations, which do not comport with the idea that we're on a globe because we see too far. Then people went out and have done laser tests, and they're shooting light over very large distances across large bodies of water, where there should be a great proportion of curvature. And the light just hits its target. So, the curvature isn't there. The curvature that they say exists isn't there. And the surface of water, you can look at the surface of water, it's flat, right? In a cup, in a bathtub, in a pool, pond, lake, the ocean, right? The surface of water at rest is so flat that it's a gold standard for establishing horizontal planes of references and using that in construction and engineering.
So let me ask another question while we're talking about this. If you've been to the ocean before, if the Earth was flat, then wouldn't you be able to see other bodies of land in the far distance if the Earth maintained that flat composure?
Yeah, you can.
Where have you seen this? If you're standing on the east coast of America, and if you look straight across the ocean, you would see Europe. Because I've been on the east coast.
That's too far, man. You're not going to be able to see that far. For one, you've got angular size change with distance, right? And angular resolution. So even large things with great distance become small in your eyes, in your view, and become unresolvable, right? Plus, you've got a lot of air in between you and that thing. And there's only a certain amount of distance you're going to be able to see through the air before the air is so opaque. It's like having layers and layers of glass or Glad wrap between you, right? Glad wrap, it's transparent, right? You can see through it, but you start making lots of layers of it, and you're not going to be able to see through it, and light won't even be able to penetrate through it. It's opaque. It's not purely transparent.
Hey, not trying to cut you off or anything like that, but judging off the sound of your voice, you're probably from like Australia or New Zealand or something like that, right?
Correct, and he's not upside down like people believe.
Well, I don't care about any of that meme stuff, but have you ever seen the star Polaris?
No, not from here. No.
So why can't you see it from there?
Too far away. Because of our distance from it, our angular
There's
view.
no place where you can see it.
Deep, and we can't see it.
Why would you expect to see it?
Well, the reason is because if the Earth was flat, you should be able to see a star from any position on the map, right?
No, that's not true.
Okay, why is that? Why wouldn't it be true?
Okay, so what you're observing is through the human eye. So things that are above your eye line as they move away with distance.
Well, I'm talking. You can see it easily through a telescope from where I am at right now.
Dude, we're talking about optics either way. So things that are above your eye line with distance appear to go downwards towards the horizon, and they're not actually going downwards like the ceiling when you look down a corridor, or the streetlights when you look down a road at night, where they appear to get closer to the floor with distance because of the angle of size, right? Now that's just perspective, dude. So when you go to another location and you look up, you're going to see the star field that's above your head, leaving the one that you left behind beyond the horizon. But that's due to perspective.
Yep. It's like a star on top of a Christmas tree, right? You're standing right up near it and you have to look up, right? And then you walk backwards a few hundred yards and you're not going to have to crank your head up to see it anymore.
A few hundred yards? Have you actually traveled a few hundred yards before?
Oh my god. That's just an example, bro, of angular size change with distance. Angular distance change with distance.
Just to go to our neighbour's
I'm just saying.
Yards.
Like a few hundred like meters or yards, like doesn't really.
Yeah, why can't you see a fly?
The trajectory.
Why can't you see a fly at that distance?
Because
is it the curvature of the Earth? Yeah, it's too small for your eyes to resolve, right?
Stars are not too hard to see. Polaris is the largest star visible in the Milky Way.
About its angular resolution. It's about how the sky, things above your head, arc over you like a protractor does. You know what a protractor is?
You're talking about arcs?
Yeah, do you know what a protractor is?
I do.
Good. So this is how we, the observer, kind of represent the sky above our head from one horizon to the other. 90 degrees above your head, 0 in front, 180 degrees behind, because the sky looks like a hemisphere around an observer. It's not actually a hemisphere. It's not actually curving downwards towards the horizon. That's based on the optic that you use. So when you walk underneath this star field, it comes up from the horizon and down to the other one. But as you keep walking, as you get closer to the location of those stars, they come up from the horizon because of perspective. And then if you travel far enough, you can go stand underneath it. It's perspective. Open your eyes.
So why do we have magnetic north and grid north? What's the
Because
difference
they're
there?
two completely different things. Magnetic north follows magnetic field lines and a magnetic north conversion point. Grid north, now that's a map. That's probably going to be denoting some kind of geographic north on the map, which we get from celestial north, which is in the sky.
Can you explain a little bit more about celestial north? Like, I'm genuinely
Celestial
curious.
north, that's the actual rotation point of circumpolar stars in the north, like the Big Dipper or indeed Polaris. It's a point of rotation in the sky.
So, like, I'm new to this community, and I'm honestly just trying to figure this out. What would be the what can you tell me about these, like, rotational things, like the stars and all that?
Well, only what we see them do.
Which is
Rotational stars will rotate, and they're called circumpolar stars. They circulate an unseen point in the sky. So the stars are in motion. What else do I need to explain? I can just describe what we see.
I don't understand why that is a thing.
What, do the stars move? Does the moon move? Does the moon move?
I mean, well, from all scientific evidence, it does.
Okay. Does the sun move?
The sun does. It actually does. Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of stories. So, I mean, why are you in so much shock when I say, yeah, things move? How can
Maybe you
you
could clarify that? Like, when you say the sun moves, do you mean above our heads, or do you mean the sun orbits a black hole in the center of the galaxy? Which one?
Oh, well, I mean, from what I understand, and I'm not discrediting y'all, like, I'm genuinely curious about this, but from what I understand is that the sun moves in orbit around the Milky Way galaxy, the epicenter of the galaxy.
So that's what you understand. What do you actually witness out in reality?
Well, I feel like we really do not need to go down that path right now.
Why not? All I want you to do is be honest.
Yeah, we do.
You're talking about an observation. Sorry, Matrix. You're
Well,
talking
I
about
mean,
an
I heard
observation.
earlier that you guys have never witnessed satellites being in our solar
Stand
system
topic.
or anything like
Stand
that.
topic. Stand topic.
Well, I feel like this isn't topic because we're talking about.
Oh my god, dude! You asked us about
please
an
continue,
observation and how it works. Then you say that observation. You don't want to go down that path. It's answering your question. Now you don't want to go down that path.
I just said I was willing to entertain that idea, and I'm talking from my personal experiences and what I've seen.
Yeah, we're not asking you the story. We're asking what we observe. We all observe the same thing. We all observe the things in the sky
you
move.
don't observe what I see because you're on the other side of the globe.
Dude, we all see stars in the sky move. Do we not?
And the sun.
We do.
Yeah, good. So that's what we're trying to get to.
Stars do indeed move. I'm not denying that.
Good. So that's what we're just trying to get to. The observation of those moving. It's what we have. You're asking us how we explain observations. Well, in this instance, it's you moving underneath a star field as they also move.
Did it go quiet?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm just I'm still trying to wrap my head
Reflecting.
around this whole flat Earth thing, and I'm here for answers. I'm not
real quick
saying
about
that you
the
guys,
observation of the
like,
sky, right? The luminaries. You were talking about the sun, the moon, the stars. Everybody's observing that, like Jetta was telling you, right? You and I, different positions across the world, we can see the luminaries moving across the sky. Perfect. That's the observable phenomena. Then you're trying to extrapolate that or into let's say the solar system that you see in depictions, right? Like, you know, the solar system, you can Google and you see like cartoons, solar system, and you think in your mind that when you look at the sky, you see the solar system that you search in Google and it looks like a cartoon. Those two things, the observable phenomena and the cartoon, are not the same thing. The
so
phenomena
what do
is
you
the
mean they're not the
phenomena,
same thing? Like,
and
how would
then
you explain that?
well, how do I explain what I just explained?
No, you were just saying that something is not the other way that another thing is, but you didn't explain why they aren't the same thing.
Listen, so in the solar system, right, that you search solar system, right? Can you are you doing searches while we talk? Like, are you looking at information?
I can do that to entertain you, of course.
Yeah. So when you search solar system, what are you gonna see? You're gonna see the sun, what is it? Mercury, Venus, Earth, right? Earth. You see it?
I do see it.
Yeah, exactly. So does it look like a cartoon, or does it look like something that you can see with your eyes with photography?
Well, you can
How
see
does it look like?
other
Is it a
systems. I
depiction?
have
Is
seen
it?
Venus and Mars both with
Yes,
the
yes,
naked
I've
eye
seen it
before.
too. I've seen Venus and Star, but remember what you just search, the solar system. Is that the way Venus looks? The way you seeing it over there in that depiction?
Well, of course not. You're
No,
just
exactly.
looking
So
at
listen.
graphic
It's the same case.
images.
It's the
They're not the
same
same.
case. Real quick, bro. It is the same case with the Earth. You've never seen the Earth going across the sky, being part of the luminaries, and curving like that little ball that you see Earth being depicted as. You see, there's no curvature across the world in the bodies of water, hundreds, thousands of miles. There's no curvature anywhere to be found. Yet, in this cartoon of the solar system that you've never seen, you're looking at the depiction of the Earth that doesn't conform to reality.
So a major question that I would like pose, and please don't attack me for this. If the Earth was actually flat, why haven't we ever found the edge yet?
Well, that's just an idea because you probably looked some type of propaganda, and people say if the Earth was flat, and it's like an image that they depict in their mind, and maybe in your mind, when you say flat Earth, you see like a disc floating in the emptiness of space or something, and you're thinking in that paradigm. You're saying this thing that I have in my head doesn't make any sense, and now you're asking about it. You're asking about an edge, but I never been to the edge. Have you been to the edge? Do you know anyone that has been to the edge? Is there anyone in here making a claim about an edge? The answer is no to all of those questions. I know, right? Am I correct? Or
Well,
you
I'm
say
I'm,
yes?
I'm just curious. If it's flat, there has to be an end, right?
But there is a possibility that there might be an edge to the contained environment that we're in, because remember, you're breathing air, and the gas pressure that is rushing towards your lungs when you expand the volume of your lungs. You know, when you breathe air, with your muscles, you expand that volume, and the pressure around you rushes violently towards the available volume, right? And the antecedent to that pressure is a container that the gases press against to create the pressure. So we are in a contained environment that allows even for you to have liquid water, because water has to be at a certain pressure to be liquid, right? You know this. And without a contained environment, you wouldn't have air to breathe or water to drink. We wouldn't be having this conversation. And there's no container on the globe. There is no when I talk to you about water, right? Water doesn't behave the way they depict it in the globe. Water doesn't do what the belief of the globe claims. In the outside of a spinning sphere in space, in a vacuum, nobody can demonstrate such a nonsensical claim of water behaving that way. That's why when they show it to you, they paint it with crayons. You know, like, do you see the color on the earth that you were looking at? What color is it? What's the colors in it? Tell me. Bro, you left? You leave? Damn.
I know I'm here. Can you repeat your question, please?
So you know the colors of the Earth and the solar system that you were looking at. Look at the colors. What color do you see?
Like in what specific context?
You know, in the label circle that you see on the depiction, and it says Earth, right? And it has colors. I don't know, green or what color is it? Blue?
Well, I mean, it's a multitude of colors.
Do you see blue in it? Blue?
I see blue. I see white.
Okay, so
I see
that blue
brown,
will represent what? Okay, well, that blue will represent what?
Water.
So it will be representing water, representing. Now, we go to reality, we go to the waters that we can access in reality, you know, lakes, rivers, the ocean, and water presents itself in a way that doesn't conform to the claim of being in the outside of a spinning sphere. Water doesn't do that. The real water that you're going to experience in reality doesn't do what the crayon blue water on the depiction is claiming to do. You see the difference between the real
what do you
water
mean
and the
by
fake
it's
water?
not doing what it shows? Like I'm confused about that.
Okay, water, the surface of the water is not curving like a sphere anywhere. You cannot have water on the outside of a sphere. You know, water doesn't attach on the outside of sphere. You need to get water. You need a container like a cup, right? Like a bottle. It will be on the inside, in the inside of the container, right? You cannot have it on the outside of it. Get it? Because it will fall off the sphere or whatever, and it will go splash to the flat floor, right?
Well, when a mass of an object is so large, gravity.
But that's the story that you've been told. That's the belief. Again, do you remember the solar system, the crayon blue, crayon green Earth that is being drawn and presented to you as this is the Earth, and in that story, like a movie or an anime, it comes with a storyline, and you have what makes water behave differently than in reality in this depiction representation. It's this thing mass that you don't even know what it is. What's mass? You just said mass. What's mass? No, you don't know what's mass. It's like, and I'm not trying to offend you, but like a parrot learns a word and you're like, mass, paka, paka, mass, paka. You're saying something that you don't even know what it means, and you think it's doing something in reality, affecting the real water to do something that water doesn't do. But words, those fantasy words don't have an effect in reality, real things. But you believe it that it does because you've been told that. Obviously, I believed that as well in the past. Not anymore. But anyways, water doesn't curve. Are you still there? Are you listening? No? You're distracted?
I am here.
Okay, so water doesn't curve. There's no measurements of curvature.
Honestly, you are 100% right. Water doesn't curve.
Yeah, exactly. So you look across lakes and bodies of water that are dozens, hundreds of miles, lakes that are huge. You can see over 50, 60 miles across the lake and see things at the other side, like buildings. I mean, there is observations in infrared that go 270 plus miles. I mean, long distance observations, like that. There is no curvature of that. The ball, remember the solar system Earth requires that curvature. That curvature, like I'm telling you again, is nowhere to be found in reality. And that water, the blue water that you found there, is nowhere to be found in reality doing what is claimed on the cartoon. Water doesn't do
The
that.
reason why you claim that it is nowhere to be found in reality is because
No, that's not my
you'll
claim,
keep
bro.
searching for it until you reach your starting point, because the Earth is round. It has been scientifically proven.
Round. Listen, bro. You see the meaning of words. Things have meanings, right? Water does certain stuff. You said round. You know that a flat table can be round. So coins, CDs, frisbees.
Oh, my bad. I meant to say spherical.
Spherical. So now, can you have a measurement of the spherical Earth that you're thinking about that you saw in the cartoon? That spherical Earth. Can you measure that drop over the distance anywhere across the world? And you cannot, because it's not there. So that's an issue for the globe. It's not an issue in reality, because in reality it's fine, it works fine. But the claim of it, that is there for you to not find, because the claim is like, it's curving because it's flat, because that's what you observe.
So why is it when I would say have to, like, with my specific profession, have to account for the curvature of the Earth when I am launching, say, like a missile or something at some target that I'm trying to hit, even though I should be able to just go straight towards it?
You're the one putting the numbers, and this rocket is gonna do a certain distance. I'm gonna take account the curvature based on the drop over the distance and the distance that I'm gonna travel, and this is the amount of curvature that I'm gonna take into account, and you put it into the rocket so it doesn't miss its target. That's what you do.
I mean, I can do that, but I'm just talking on a broad spectrum. But that is one thing that we do.
What is it, or is it something you're told they do?
Listen, I know what I'm talking about. I'm just asking, like, why do I have to account for curvature when it comes to destroying things?
Well, maybe you don't.
Curvature, or you're accounting for drop of your projectile? Which is it? Are you accounting for curvature, or you're accounting for drop of your projectile?
Well, when it works with like rocket thrusters, you're accounting for curvature. When you're accounting for a projectile, you're accounting for drop by the gravitational patrol. There are two different things.
So you're not allowing for curvature then? So you're dreaming?
Can you say that again?
So you're not programming for curvature then? If you're sending rockets or missiles or whatever you want to call them, and you're allowing for curvature, said curvature would be measurable. Images like the black swan would not exist. And that's all of them. Oh look, Simple Jack. Did you bring some curvature proof with you today?
None that you would understand.
Okay, he is super duper quiet.
This is the Australian hour.
Hello?
G'day.
G'day, I guess. I don't know. Hang on, give me a sec.
Said g'day and he's broken. That's it. He wasn't ready for that.
Dang, you right, mate?
Alright, g'day.
Alright, we'll have another
G'day.
go.
So, I, being an outsider, want to be convinced how the Earth is flat and not round, which is commonly taught across the entire planet of Earth.
Oh, well, my goal is not to convince you that it's flat. I just present the information and you can do what you like with it. My personal goal is to get you to think for yourself. If you can do that and walk out of here, you'll survive. You'll be right.
Yeah, but like, I'm trying to get educated.
That's what we're hoping you'll do, is think for yourself and educate
Yeah,
yourself.
but right now, I am thoroughly convinced that the Earth is a globe.
Why?
And, well, because it is
What convinces
well
you?
established.
So you're just a sheep, you...
What?
How do you know it's a globe? So you wake up in the morning, I know I live on a globe because of... What is it that you know that you live on a globe? How do you know? Other than the cool stories you've been told.
But how do I know I live on a flat map?
I didn't ask that. You're the one saying that you know you live on a globe. We want to know how you know.
I mean, because when I walk outside of my door, I can't see China.
So your ability to see long range is what dictates the shape of the ground. How do I know you're not walking around with a white cane and dark glasses on?
So,
I mean, why would you expect to? Why would you expect to see China?
Because that is like straight across from me.
You think your eyesight's that good? Think your eyesight's that good?
Perfect conditions. How far do you think you should be able to see?
Honestly, if I got like a high-powered microscope, I probably wouldn't be able to see it either. Or maybe a microscope is not the answer. I meant like an actual like telescope. Yes,
telescope. Yeah.
We'll let you go with that one. So how far do you believe you should be able to see, given perfect conditions?
Well, given perfect conditions, I would expect to be able to like look at the from my direct west, I should be able to see China, Japan, all that stuff.
What distance is that?
Probably a couple thousand miles.
So you believe you can see a couple of 1,000 miles? or should be able to see, a couple of thousand miles given perfect conditions. Well, sorry to offend you, but air is opaque. Given perfect conditions, and let's just work this out in imperial because he'll probably understand that better. 300. Given perfect conditions, 186 miles.
But why is that?
Because of dust, humidity, and air is not perfectly clear.
Yeah, light attenuates through air. It's just like, so you got the inverse square law.
Further and further away, eventually it just becomes a wall of white. That's why. So it's got nothing to do with the shape of the ground. The reason you can't see China is just because of the air. That's it. And that's perfect conditions. You start messing with it, have a dusty day, go to the beach when there's mad lot of waves and there's a high moisture content, and yeah, that distance gets cut down dramatically.
Okay. So I'm just having like a little bit of a hard time wrapping my mind around this, because things that would, like, the furthest point that I can see, like there's like a lighthouse out there off the coast that I can barely see, but when, like, for instance, this past week we had like a severe thunderstorm and the waves are all crazy, the ocean was going insane, I could still very clearly see the entire building.
And how far away is it?
I think it's probably close to like 3 miles away.
He's about to flat smack himself.
And you're on the same elevation as this lighthouse?
Well, I'm gonna be on a higher elevation of it because the lighthouse is in the ocean, and the ocean has a lower elevation than the rest of the earth, so yeah.
So have you ever jumped online and typed in, just Google search Earth Curve Calculator? This is a tool that, assuming you live on a ball, it's all designed by Globers. If you live on a ball, this is how far you should.
Is that a slur?
See. Well, Globers. Not yet, but it will be eventually.
We can say globe believers if you like.
But anyways, if you jump online, punch in Earth Curve Calculator, when you're out in the real world, keep track of some of the long range stuff you've seen or witnessed or taken photos of. It's all good. Go back home, jump onto Google Maps, and then
hang on, mate. I'm gonna turn up your volume because I can barely hear you. All right, please go. Continue.
Yeah. So jump when you've made an observation of something that you think to yourself, gee whiz, that's a fair way out. Go back home, jump onto Google Maps, work out your distances, work out the elevations or heights of those. For example, if you're standing on the beach one day and you look across and there's an island or something out in the distance, and you know that that island is, say, 10 miles away, and you can see it quite clearly, you know how tall you are. You might only be 5 foot tall, 6 foot tall, whatever your height is. Punch that information into the Earth Curve Calculator, and it will tell you how high the object is that you should be at, how high it'll have to be in order for you to see it beyond the alleged Earth curvature. So these are all based on a radius of 3959 miles. So if it is true that we live on a ball with a radius of 3959 miles, the really basic formula for working out where the horizon should be is the square root of the observer's height in feet times 1.22, and your answer is in miles. So if you grab your high-powered kick-ass camera and stick it on a tripod at 1 foot high, square root of 1 is 1 times 1.22 is 1.22 miles. Anything beyond that 1.22 miles should be obstructed by the horizon. So keep that in mind when you're out and about making observations. Because where we have a little bit of entertainment is this is where we get images that have been ripped out of video footage, like what I've just posted up in the side chat. That's one frame out of video footage of a camera that was mounted 1 foot from the ground. We know how far those oil rigs are, so they're used for demarcation only. And you wouldn't believe it. Look what you can see right up in back behind the oil rigs. The bloody horizon. That's amazing, isn't it?
Where'd you post this at?
24 past the hour, side chat. So we know the elevation of the camera, we know the distance to the oil rigs, and we can clearly see the horizon way beyond that. Gives you a bit to think about, doesn't it?
All right, I'm looking. Oh, you're talking about that picture?
Yeah. That's from 1 foot off the ground.
Who took the picture?
Yeah, wait, how can you prove that that's 1 foot off the ground?
Quite easily. What I'll do for you is I'll put the video that accompanies it in the side chat for your convenience.
Okay. Yeah, please.
There he is. Done. 26 past the hour. So your problem with having a horizon behind our markers is the one on the left, 9.41 miles. If that's true where the horizon is, and you still believe you live on a ball, that means the ball's radius now is somewhere in the vicinity of 250 to 260,000 miles. But I don't expect you to magically drop everything and go, that's it, I'm a flat earther now due to one little video. All I ask is you go outside and check things out yourself. You know all the claims that you've been force-fed at school, that you're on a ball.
Well, I wasn't force-fed anything in school. They rarely ever force-fed me anything, but yeah.
Yeah, they did.
I get what you're saying. Dude, that is hilarious how you could just say that. You don't know me. You don't know any of the... No.
Indoctrinated like everyone else was. None of us are different. We're all force-fed the same shit at school. You didn't get an option.
See, my problem is you can say that I'm indoctrinated, but like... okay, so I'm still watching the video, of course, but I can't use the video saying that you were wrong about something in this video yet. But I'm just gonna speak shortly because I do have to go. But I disagree completely with the whole indoctrinating part. That's what a lot of flat earthers use. That's what a lot of Christians use too. That's what a lot of people like to use that have worldviews that are against. What's up?
Conditioning.
Yeah.
Say that again. Matrix.
Nobody's immune from the conditioning from childhood, from birth.
Okay, well, sorry.
Whether it's true or not, bro. Nobody's immune to being exposed to the conditioning and indoctrination.
Yeah, I've had that.
Okay, but you, like I said, I'm still watching this guy's video, but I at least from the chat, from the people I've been talking in chat, I have not been exposed to this indoctrination you're talking about.
Yes, you have. You don't even know it yet.
See, that's so easy for you to say without, like...
It is easy for me to say, because you're claiming you haven't.
Yes, because... okay, so you know me better than I know myself.
Been brainwashed?
No, real quick. You can't
yes.
You could very easily say just because you don't agree with my point of view that you've been brainwashed. That is so...
You know how I know I can say it?
Okay, yes, tell me.
Because I used to be in your shoes, son. That's how I know I can say it.
You've never been in my shoes. What? You don't even know.
Arguing against something you don't understand.
How do I not understand it?
How? Yep.
You don't understand how long I've been debating people like you that have supported the flat earth.
So you've been debating, so you're claiming it's a globe. You're indoctrinated, like we said.
Okay, I could say the same thing.
Okay, let's just cut to the bullshit. Do you have measured drop over distance? Yes or no?
I imagine you can find it, yes.
Go and get it, bring it back, and we'll shut the server down.
Wait.
Yeah, but even if we show it to you, you're not going to accept it.
I agree, he won't accept it because you won't accept...
over distance. Less yap, more action.
Matrix, will you be here tomorrow or sometime in the future?
I'm here most days.
Okay, the next time I'm going to peek in here, and I'm going to see if you're on, I will bring it then. Like I said, I have to go here in a moment.
Listen,
but
measured,
yes.
drop
over distance. Yes, I heard
measured.
you. Yeah. Yes.
Not calculated.
Here, I will type it down somewhere. So whenever I wake up, I see it, and then I'm ready to bring it to you.
You don't necessarily have to have me in here. There's more than enough guys that'll be in here ready to accept this.
Okay. Because look, the reason why I don't think, even if I were able to bring you this right now, it is just because after all of the time that I've spent arguing with flat earthers, and this is what a lot of people that I know in here have also said. The reason you've spent time
arguing is because you've not provided evidence. You just argue for the sake of listening to your own voice.
No, because y'all did,
and the argument shuts down.
No, you deny evidence. Yes. You deny clear evidence. Can you explain an argument against the 24-hour sun? No.
You get the clear evidence. You claim you've got.
That's cool, man.
The argument gets shut down. Full stop.
Yes, I understand that is how it should work. But can you explain to me? Okay, I'll ask you one question before I leave. Explain the 24-hour sun. No. Don't start doing this where I have to provide evidence only, and you're just the only side. Like, you showed me a video, yes.
You're the one
but can you explain to me?
Globe. Go and get your measured drop over distance. That's
so you're not claiming.
You're the one making a hard stance on the Earth is flat, dude.
Yeah, nobody would be in here.
Relax,
look. Nobody would be in here if it wasn't for you. That's the thing. This channel is named after you. This is your claim.
It's
my
not
question.
Named after me. I don't see Matrix channel up the top.
It's named after your position. It's named after your claim. This is the Flat Earth channel. Is it not?
This is the 24/7 Flat Earth channel. Yes.
Oh, okay. So it is the Flat Earth channel.
So because of the name of the title of the room, all of a sudden the burden of proof is on me.
No.
You're the one
I just want to ask
what a globe. You believe you live on a globe. You believe you've got evidence. Just toddle along and go and get it.
So, yes, and I want to ask you a question to see if you can answer it, because every time I ask a flat earther this, they can't, and they have to deny reality in order to perpetuate their worldview.
Okay.
So explain to me. Okay.
So now I've got to explain to you something.
No, I'm just asking what your take is on, like, the 24-hour sun in Antarctica, because that is observable. I could go there right now, and no flat Earth model, even flat Earthers online.
We don't have a flat Earth model. So stop trying to project something onto us.
What? There are many flat Earth models. What?
So which one are you claiming we adhere to then?
No, I'm trying to explain to you that many flat Earthers out here. No.
You're claiming we use a model, therefore your 24-hour sun is proving what?
So I want to ask you this. You have no claim to.
We've made no claim to a model. Get that through your head.
Yes,
excellent.
But just like Christianity, there are different groups. Just like any group out there, there are different groups inside of your group that believe they do have a model that does make sense and adheres to reality.
Talk to them.
Oh, okay. So just tell me that from the beginning instead of doing this. Just say you don't adhere to a model, and then I won't ask you something like this.
You're the one
that you need a model
on a model to start off with.
Oh my God. Okay.
Did you not listen to what you said yourself?
Wait.
How does the 24-hour sun work on your model? That's what you said to me.
Yeah, I was asking you how does it work on your model because I didn't realize you didn't have a model because a majority of flat earthers do claim a model. They claim the same model.
Yeah, not what we're talking about.
That's fine. I'm just saying a majority do. That is why now it is clarified, and that is why I'm not going to continue the 24-hour sun argument. Now, I just have a question before I go. Why do you not have a model? Is it because you don't have...
It's not necessary. All we claim is the ground is observable, measurable as flat. It is utilized as flat. Flown across, sailed across, navigated across, and for all intent and purpose, used as flat.
Then why do pilots have to account for the Earth's curvature when they're flying across distances? They do. You can find this anywhere online.
They don't, bro.
Okay. Show me where it doesn't.
Why don't you find it? Why don't you show you where it doesn't? That's proven a negative. Why don't you post it in the chat? You find it online. Give us the evidence.
Yeah, I could probably find this one. What is that? Somebody?
Probably.
Yeah, one moment. I don't understand that well. Whatever that is posted in chat, if that is...
That's pitch data.
Pitch data? Okay.
For an airplane.
Gotcha. But, yeah, like I said, I out of every... I know pilots in real life. They actively do need to account.
Congratulations.
See,
this is just why would you come in here? You're making stuff up, dude. No Glober even makes that argument. What the Glober argument is typically this. They don't have to account for curvature because gravity pulls the nose down and they're just flying somewhere within, because the way a wing works, right? The way a wing works, you have pressure on the top, or less pressure on the top, more pressure on the bottom versus the plane up. The way a wing on an airplane works. And because the pressure is spherically symmetric around the globe, they will stay at that level no matter what. They don't have to tip down. They did because they're flying at an elevation away from the surface of a ball.
Okay, so real quick, I'm just going to say this now because I've never encountered a flat earther personally that doesn't adhere to a model. I also have never heard an argument from a glober that that planes don't have to account for the Earth's curvature. I've never.
We had a pilot in here not long ago, and I clipped him saying that they don't, and it's in the side chat there for you.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll continue to look for proof that they do for you because I can't bring the people that I know into this channel right now and bring them onto the mic.
So can I say something to you about the model thing? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're confusing the map with the model.
No, I'm not. I understand that, the flat Earth map.
Well, I mean, what model? What do you think they use to model the sun right now? What do you think they're using? What do you think that model is? If you go to time and date or sun calc, the mathematics they use to calculate when the sun rises, sun sets, how long it's up. What model do you think they use for that?
Tell me.
Well,
because I already assume I know the answer.
Yeah, they use something called the equation of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no globe in that model. It's an observer-centric model. It's based upon where the sun is relative to the celestial equator. and where you are relative to the celestial equator. So there's the celestial equator where it is above the horizon, where the sun is supposed to be. Like time and date or sun calc or anything that tell you
no. The other term you had for it,
the equation of time.
Yeah,
the equation of time. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So you can look it up on Wikipedia. You can look at the formulas, and none of those formulas have a globe in it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll fact check.
So, like, we could equally say it's a flat Earth model on how to do it because it's an observer-centric model. It doesn't even matter what you're on. It could be on anything. Back of a donkey, it would still work.
Gotcha. All right.
Well, so I heard a brain-dead take that apparently pilots don't have to account for the curvature of the Earth.
Oh, here's one I know, actually.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Pilot here. I flew part 121, 135. Hello. Brain-dead fucking opinion. Yes, we do. Literal a fucking problem.
Tell us how.
Okay, so if you were to draw, literally, the best way to describe this is if you have a globe in your hands and you were to take a piece of string and pull it taut across 2 points across the globe. No, I'm asking how you do it with the airplane. Literally just point north. Like, huh?
You account for the curvature of the Earth by pointing north?
Pretty much, yeah. Literally,
yes. Flying north.
Same fucking thing. I have a great example of this. I have a great example. Give me a second here, and I have a link.
What's the angle of attack of a wing?
It really depends on what the airfoil is shaped like.
Okay, but what does it mean?
Depends. Are you rocking a delta? The angle of attack?
Yeah.
It's the angle of the wing in relative to the actual body of the aircraft itself, and it's also the angle of the shape of the forward airfoil. It is incorrect. Actually.
No, it's the angle of attack.
The angle of attack is also.
I'm going to tell you what it is, and then I'll post the diagram if you right from the fucking manual. The angle of attack of wing is the tilt of the wing relative to the direction of travel. Right. The velocity vector. The velocity vector. You know what that is, right?
I didn't even know you were talking about.
You are a pilot after all, or are you just a LARPer?
Buddy,
are you just a LARPer trying to fake your way through it? We've talked to plenty of pilots. The shit ain't gonna work. In fact, we had a 757 pilot in our Discord for almost 3 years. So I don't know what you're trying to do, but it's not working. So.
Literally,
that's a great backing up. You're not a pilot. Good try though. Try again.
I literally am, but you know,
you're literally not.
He literally is, but yeah, you could deny his job without knowing him.
He is not a pilot. He doesn't even know what the angle of attack of a wing is. He doesn't know what a velocity vector is. Okay, on the heads-up display, what does the W symbol stand for?
On which airframe? Because I don't fly.
On the heads-up display. Right.
I don't fly aircraft with heads-up displays. I fly PC-12s. I flew Lear 60s. We didn't have HUDs. We had Garmin 1000s.
So So your attitude indicator. What did you use as an attitude indicator? What was the device?
Usually on the PCs, it was built into the
what did it use? MFD. What was the device?
It's usually built into the MFD. I think it was the actual Garmin that displayed our attitude.
The Garmin that displayed your attitude. That makes no sense. I want to know the device.
Like, are you talking the actual console that's sitting in front of me, like the display that showed what my
the thing that measures what your attitude is? That device. What type of device was it? Yeah.
What are you asking me? Are you asking me
if you were a pilot, you would know exactly what I was talking about?
I'm asking you to clarify here. Are you referring to the actual console, like the MFD, the main flight display that's sitting in front of me, like between my knees?
What is the attitude of an airplane?
Garmin?
Okay, let's go backwards. What is the attitude of an airplane?
It's the pitch.
It's the entire orientation of the airplane.
Pitch, roll, yaw.
Relative to.
Angle of
down,
attack.
Right? Relative to down, right? What is the device that measures that?
Well, I mean, in the original ones, it was usually through the pitot.
Shut up, dude. Good try, though. Not even close, buddy. Fucking, your buddy's a lame, dude. It's fucking pathetic.
Did you mute him?
Flight Simulator is not a fucking, doesn't make you a pilot.
Did you mute him?
Yes, I did.
Wow. You're
for
pathetic.
lying. For lying.
You don't even let him answer, and you just mute.
He doesn't know what it is. It shouldn't even.
You know,
be
when
difficult.
you mute people, it doesn't mean you
Simple
win the
Jack.
conversation.
Okay, I don't have to win.
He actually is a pilot, so I don't know why
No, he's not. You're an idiot if you believe that.
Muting somebody because
You're
they
an
are trying to
idiot
give
if
you
believe
facts.
he's a. If you're an idiot if you believe he's a pilot, you're a fucking idiot. Okay, the choices were.
You don't get to determine choices. Sometimes answers are not going to be.
No, there's only so many types of devices. So in helicopters, they use a electric-driven mechanical gyro. In airplanes, they use a vacuum-driven mechanical gyro with pendulous vanes on it. And digitally, in newer aircraft, they'll use something like a fiber optic gyro or a ring laser gyro to determine the attitude of the airplane. It's very fucking simple shit that anybody that flies a plane has to know, because they have to know that, like, hey, dude, I'm flying level, but my pitch says 90.
Yeah, see, when you monologue like this, it doesn't make you right.
Why the fuck would it do that? Right? I never said muting people made me right. He's a liar, and you're defending a liar because you're a piece of human garbage.
You don't even let people defend themselves or say anything. You just mute them.
He had
because you're a
plenty
coward.
of chances. I don't care what you think. I'm not a coward. You're defending liars, bro. Why are you defending a liar?
People don't even have a chance to lie. You mute them as soon as they say something you don't like.
What did they say that I don't like?
Anything that anybody says that you don't like, you mute them immediately. You muted me like 3 times so far.
What did he say that I don't like?
I don't fucking know. You get triggered over everything. You're about to mute me too because you're a little snowflake.
No. I'm going to mute you because you're a fucking shameless liar.
There we go. Exactly. Yeah. Garbage. See, you're offended and you have to mute.
It's not because I'm offended. Because you're a liar and there's no point in talking.
And actually, Simpleton Jack, it was me that muted you because you're spurging out. Indio hasn't muted
As always, what you always do. You go all meta, say you're getting muted for that people are being muted because we don't like what they're saying. We ask you, what did they say? And you don't know. So you made a claim, hey, they're being muted for what they said that we don't like. You can't even say what it was. You couldn't even tell me what that guy said if I asked you.
So we get people coming here claiming to be pilots all the time. One came in and claimed that aircraft operates as if the Earth is flat.
He is a pilot. Like, I know him.
No,
Yeah, sure he
You're
is.
a fucking moron. If you think that guy is a pilot, you're stupid.
I know he's a pilot.
How do you know that?
Because I know him, dude.
How do you? In what way? You talk to him on Discord?
I have known him for multiple years, and he is very
you talk to him on Discord? How did you verify he's a pilot? Yeah, that's what I thought.
We were both in the Marine Corps during the same fucking time, dude.
Okay, that doesn't mean anything.
But it does.
It's unrelated to whether you know he's a pilot. That's a red herring. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. He's not a pilot.
Do you want me to post like a fucking image to like show that like his pilot certificate or something like that? I'm finding it hard to understand why you wouldn't believe.
Because I asked him questions about how an
what makes you a fucking professional on whether the Earth is flat or not? Then,
Prophet, listen carefully.
No, because you guys are attacking. You're attacking one of my friends.
You can't. Your friend. You came to White Knight for a liar.
Fucking special ed. He was asked very specific stuff about flying, and he had no fucking clue. Shit that any doorknob pilot would be able to answer, regardless of what craft they flew. That's the problem, mate.
You guys are too dumb to know the difference. I told him. We had a pilot on our Discord. Okay? For 3 years straight. And we did verify he was a pilot. He took pictures from the cockpit. He took pictures of his pilot's license. We know that guy was a pilot. He taught us everything we fucking ever need to know about flying a fucking airplane. How all the instrumentation works. Everything. This guy didn't even know very basic shit that you have to know when flying an airplane, like the angle of attack of a wing. You ever play like a little fucking military game? In the fucking, it's got the simulation, and like the voice is saying, angle of attack too low, angle of attack too low, right? The angle of attack wing means your wing is cutting straight into the fucking air, and you're not getting any lift. If you don't know that as a pilot, you're going to die. He didn't know what the angle of attack of a wing was.
I cannot speak on any of that type of shit, but I do understand and know that there are multiple different ways to account for that type of thing. You're not always going to have the same measurements or announcements on whatever intercom system you have in your aircraft, because each aircraft is different.
That's not what I'm talking about. When you're
talking about angles of attack, whatever the fuck.
When you're flying a military
I never said he was a military pilot.
Okay, listen. When you're flying I was thinking maybe you knew the reference. So when you're flying a military aircraft, when you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, you get a warning. And one of those warnings is that your angle of attack is wrong. Okay? Because it's crucial for you to stay in the fucking air and not go into a flat spin or a fucking end over end fucking dive, because your wing has to be tilted up, because flying is more like water skiing. Right? What happens if you water skis get pitched down in the front? You flip end over end, right? So the angle of attack of a wing, you have to know what it is in order to fly the airplane. To not know what an angle of attack even is means you're not a pilot at all. This is like basic thing. You wouldn't even be able to get in the fucking cockpit.
Yeah, anyway,
let me ask you, should you better be able to fly an aircraft if you don't know how aerodynamics of a fucking plane work? Your friend is not a pilot, and if he's been telling you are, he's a fucking liar. And you need a better friend.
I really do not appreciate you talking about him like that.
I don't give a shit. I'm trying to help.
Why are you still mad? Why are you still mad?
What are you going to do? Leave? Oh no.
I'm not going to leave because I want to have this conversation with y'all, but I don't know why you're attacking some guy, because his experience is different than what you know from one person.
It's not from one person. You can type in Google angle of attack. What you're going to get are fucking hundreds of diagrams from all sorts of fucking flying manuals that describe what the angle of attack of a wing are.
Yeah, and I'm sure he could probably explain himself pretty well to you, but you guys server muted him before he could even talk. I know you did.
No, you're a liar. He moved on from. We're recording this, dude.
I know you were.
Okay, so we're recording this. He moved on from the angle of attack. As soon as I told him it was the velocity vector, not the body of the aircraft. Then I asked him what the W means for. That tells you the direction that the aircraft is actually going in. That's the indicator for the velocity vector. What direction the velocity vector is actually in. Okay? So he doesn't know very fundamental things. But he said, I don't use the heads-up display. That's fine. Okay? That's why I switched to maybe you don't know that instrumentation. So I tried to get instrumentation he would know what works. That means all airplanes have attitude indicators that tell you the orientation of the airplane. Because it's not always self-evident what orientation. If it's dark,
it's wrong.
Right? You lose power. Yeah, only on TV, buddy. Enchanting is just really nutty. Okay, so say you get a downdraft and the plane ends up tipped, because you're not going to feel like yourself being pulled down because you're being forced in another direction by the airplane. But if you look at the attitude indicator, you can see how the plane is oriented. But if you didn't have that, you could be pointed in a direction you don't know if you're just judging by the forces on your body. Okay? So they're necessary. They're in all airplanes. You have to have them. And you have to know how they work, because you have to know how they fail. Because if you don't know how they fail, when they fail, you won't know what to do.
Okay.
Flying a plane isn't driving a car.
I'm not. Hang on. I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. Trust me. I understand you might be a little bit frustrated in what you know is what you know. I don't know anything about flying aircraft. I only know about shooting down aircraft. What my friend knows is probably a little bit different than what your source that you claim is credible knows.
You mean basic aerodynamics in every fucking flight manual to how to fly every single one?
Once again,
did he learn how to fly like in some other foreign country? Did he learn to fly in some foreign country?
Dude, I am not. I am not trying to have a debate with you on the credibility of someone. But was anything that he said provably false?
He didn't know what I was talking about.
So he didn't know what you were talking about, which meant that he doesn't know what he said, trying to bring facts to the table about the curvature of the Earth. That was not true at all.
Nope, that's not true, because I asked him how he accounted for it, and he said, by flying north. That don't even make sense.
That was not what he said.
Pointing north to start off with, and then when he was questioned, what if you're flying north? You do know
he didn't say flying north. He meant referencing north.
He said flying north. And how are you going to negotiate around the ball if you know which way north is? It's irrelevant.
And I'm going to see if I can try to find it in the video.
Look, NASA publishes something called Linear Aircraft Model on a Flat, Non-Rotating Earth, because that's how they teach pilots to fly on a flat, non-rotating Earth. They don't teach them to negotiate around a curve. You wouldn't even be able to do it. And I've also been arguing with Globers for 8 years of them saying airplanes don't have to negotiate around the curve because they just maintain level flight because of the reason I described. They have an airfoil. An airfoil will keep them at an altitude because their elevation is based upon the relative pressure and their velocity. And that relative pressure is determined by how far away you are from the surface of the Earth. So if you're flying and it's going around the ball, in order to maintain that elevation, right, and fall into that little fucking sweet spot you're supposed to be flying in, you have to take a curved path, and you just automatically follow in that curved path. Okay? These are basic things. That's why I know he's not a pilot, because you can't fly an airplane without knowing these things. Right? Imagine someone's coming to you, I am a race car driver, and you said, what's a gas pedal? And they don't know. Or what's a shifter? I don't know. What's a transmission? I don't know. I don't think they'd be a race car driver. I just don't know why you guys defend liars. It's pretty nutty to me.
Oh, were you talking to me?
Yeah, you weren't listening.
No, because I'm playing it back, dude. I'm trying to back your claim.
Oh, that clip I posted of the guy that's claimed to be a pilot that was in here a few weeks ago. He said, aircraft operates as if the Earth is flat because of the forces acting upon it, just like Indio said.
I've had this discussion about airplanes probably 500 times, somewhere in there, with pilots. I don't know how you would count for curvature because you're fucking flying north. Oh, I know. Because the Earth's a cylinder. That's what it is. I fucking do it.
Okay, I just rewatched the video. You muted him while he was mid-discussion about
what?
The instrument
Yeah,
that you were asking him questions about.
Yeah, so what?
What's that got?
You didn't let him explain himself.
He had no idea what I was talking about. Not a clue. Not even a little bit.
Because he was explaining it from his perspective, and you cut him off before he was able to explain anything. Just because
are airplanes standardized?
What?
Are airplanes standardized?
No, they're not.
No? There's no standardization for aircraft.
There is
there's not an attitude
system.
Tell me an aircraft without an attitude indicator in it.
I cannot speak on that because I'm not a fucking pilot.
Okay, then you don't know if they're standardized or not.
But what I'm saying is when he was actually trying to elaborate more on that, you muted him, and people in this channel who are on quote unquote your side were like, "Did you just mute him?" And you said yes.
Yeah.
And you were like, "I don't fucking care about all that."
What does that have to do with the initial thing you went back to research?
The thing is, he was explaining something. You muted him before he had the chance to finish explaining.
You went back to check and to see something very particular. Did you find that? Yes or no?
You're talking about the point he was trying to make, yes?
Did he say he was do you fly north? Yeah, he did.
It seems
which also proves he's not a pilot, which proves that his mute was justified. He was talking shit, he came in here and he's a liar. And
the only time
you're disgusting for defending someone that's a liar.
I'm not comfortable with the whole fucking liar thing, dude.
He is.
He's not, though.
Yeah, I asked you how you know that, and you can't tell me. That's weird. He said, "Trust me, bro," and you trusted him, bro, and now you're gonna die.
That is fucking wild.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? You never know people until you live with them, as they say.
So I could say that y'all in here say, "Trust me, bro."
Know you. Why don't you
and you're all
know
fucking
you?
liars.
Why don't you say, "I know you are," but what am I? Why don't you just go?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a fucking childish ass argument. But he's a fucking Marine, and I know he's a fucking Marine.
So what? Marines don't lie.
Incredible.
So Marines don't lie,
dude. I didn't.
Yeah, Marines don't fly, my guy.
No, I said lie.
He wants.
Dude, I didn't.
Yeah, Marines don't fly, my guy.
No, I said lie.
He wants to think that you have to account for Earth curvature because he thinks that the Earth is a ball, but in reality, no pilot immediately has to account for anything like curvature or rotation. The only time I've ever heard them say that they account for it is in their flight path, right? That if they didn't take that particular path, that wouldn't be the shortest route, and then you can map that on a ball and you can see that that's the shortest distance. That's the only time that I've ever heard them say anything about having to account for curvature is in their in the route that they take, not immediately having to like nose down or fuck, oh, there goes the Earth spinning beneath me, I've got to fucking account for it. No, nothing like that. They just say it's as if it is flat and motionless.
Yeah, I bet you I could pull up a Wolfie video where he says it. It would probably be like fucking 8 years old because this was resolved a long So I have the video. I knew he's made one on every fucking iteration of this topic. This is a globe earther, an anti-flat earther, hardcore. He's an anti-flat earth for the fucking full 8 years. Hates flat earthers. Can't stand them. He is an ex-helicopter pilot. He's currently a bombardier pilot for a private company. He used to fly helicopters for the Australian State Police. He's also just a regular piece of shit. But no Glober makes the argument that the negotiating curve of the Earth ever. aircraft change attitude to follow the curvature of the Earth.
If that's true,
they say you don't need to. Now, there are flat earthers that say you do need to. Okay? So it's quite the shock when you hear a globe earther saying that they do, when all the other globe earthers are saying that they don't, and that you don't need to. And then a guy comes in here and you say, how do you do that? Because I was really curious on how he would actually do that in practice with an actual airplane. And he said, fly north. I think I'm talking to the choir at this point. Just to illustrate a point, okay? Now, if nobody told you the Earth was a globe, would you have figured it out yourself?
Well, if nobody would have told me that, then eventually I would have, because of job training.
It's high noon.
So, what? What do you mean from job training, dude? What does that even mean?
Because my first job that I actually had, we shot down aircraft. And with that came with judging the trajectory of an aircraft based off of the curvature of the Earth, and we had like special tablets that would like give us calculations saying, hey, this is the gravitational pull that we're experiencing right now, and this is the trajectory of the aircraft. You aim your sights here, you can shoot it down.
Aim your sights. Sights are what weapon?
I've got you in my sights.
The Stinger.
You know what's interesting
Stinger,
about that?
Dude. Stinger's got an IR freaking secret.
If I may point out, in what he said,
it has. You do not rely solely on the IR and IFF belt pack.
So you think you're picking the fucking airplane up out of the sky by you aiming it?
Yeah, I call bullshit.
But if you think about it,
oh my goodness!
But bro,
so we underwent a special operation, called.
Bro.
Okay, are you gonna let me talk about what we were just talking about, or are you just gonna like step on me?
I'll let you go, dude. I just want to point something out, right? What you said in terms of what you actually practice, you didn't say anything that is exclusive to a ball. Earlier, you precursed it with, we use that, we use this, we use curvature, we use that. But when you mention what you do, you just said something about calculating for example, the gravity, which is just basically the acceleration, downwards. That's fine. And then everything else around that, you didn't. It wasn't. Nothing was exclusive to a ball.
What the fuck did I mention balls, dude?
Ew.
You're talking about curvature.
Get your fucking mind out of the gutter, bro.
Talking about the globe,
Your mind's in the gutter, dude. I'm not talking about that shit. The fuck's wrong with you?
Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe, my humor is a little
I just want to point that out, right? Because you invoked the term gravity, which I think, you're trying to insinuate, globe Earth with that term, but it's not necessarily the case. Because we all none of us will there's no point in contention about the downward acceleration of dense objects. Right, we can calculate shit at 9.8 meters per second squared downwards, and if you're calculating for that in your work, that's fine. It's not exclusive. That's all I wanted to point out.
Okay, and I will address what you just said right now. So, like, I know someone earlier mentioned we have like IR detection, blah blah blah. We have IFF with our belt packs. You can identify a friend or foe utilizing that. But when you do not have access to that, you are relying based solely on vision and sound. When you're doing that type of sight mode, you have to account for curvature.
Hold on.
Because you do not have a lock
or
on.
you put in data into a machine and it spits out a number.
You're not punching anything into any type of machine. You're eyeballing it.
So you're eyeballing a curved trajectory on something that's flying on fuck knows what trajectory. You're full of shit.
No, you have a legitimate sight that is designed for that. It has. So when you're looking into the sight, it's like a cross, right? And each cross will determine, like, so for your y-axis, you have certain squares that will indicate basically an elevation, and then your x-axis, you will have a windage indicator. And it's pretty fairly easy to identify with the regular rockets that we use that are not configured to the IFF belt pack. You can just be like, all right, they'll do like a general within like I think of like a 50-meter radius. You can shoot them within that range off the target that you pick based off of the calculations that you make, and then they will hit the aircraft. But before you actually meet your target, you have to calculate trajectory, which way the aircraft is going, and then account for curvature. So
Sounds like you're accounting for curvature. Sounds like you're looking at a screen and it's going, oh look, the craft we're after is going this way, and you give it some lead and then shoot.
Well,
wait, this is air to air.
That is true.
So this is air to air. Is this air to air?
This is ground to air.
Ground to air. Oh, okay.
What?
So what's the curvature got to do
I'm not
with it
denying what you're saying.
So what's the curvature got to do with it?
That is absolutely true.
What are you curvature? Are you accounting for curvature of the air?
Can I please speak about my weapon system, please? All right. So when you're looking at it, you have your top sight, your left sight, and then you have your bottom sight. The bottom sight within that optic that you're looking through is going to be your yardage. So generally when you're identifying an aircraft, you'd be like, hey, I'm going to super elevate this weapon. I'm looking up. I'm getting the acquisition of the lateral, basically the bearing of the object. And then that bottom sight is going to tell you how much your sight needs to compensate based on what you're looking at. Depending on where you're at, if you're on flat ground within sea level, you need to look further up. But if you're on like a mountain or something like that, you need to look further down. And then you engage your target, and whether or not you get a kill is up based on there.
That in my childhood. I was a middle child.
Hello?
So I just think it's really, really interesting that you're directly involved in academia, being a professor. And I don't mean to call it a conspiracy theory begrudgingly. I just mean it as in like a culturally, what does Flat Earth represent? It's very, in that regards, a conspiracy, which is not something academics normally go for. So that's what I find so interesting.
Globe is a conspiracy. Remember that.
Well, I'm not trying to paint it as one. I'm trying to say, like, culturally, what is it, right? I'm just saying culturally that's where it falls. I'm not trying to make a claim. Right.
It's funny. Right, it's kind of what you're saying. Like, oh, wow. It's not so much a conspiracy theory, but it's the fact that, wow, there's this teacher who actually looks outside the textbook. Are you serious?